All right, welcome to our first introductory podcast for my new podcast, Training Life and Culture. This is going to be put on by my gym, Bristol County Barbell Club, BCBC, as you'll see on a bunch of our branding on our shirts and around the club. I wanted to start this podcast for a few reasons, and we're just going to do a quick introductory one. Going to go over a little bit about the gym, a little bit about myself, and what this podcast is going to mean overall. Everybody and their mother today has a podcast, and I'm a competitive powerlifter. We have a powerlifting team here. It seems like every powerlifter also has a podcast, and they just have a gamut of the same people over and over again. And they say the same things. Trust me, I've listened to pretty much all of them, and I love it. I love all the higher notable powerlifters taking their time going on and telling stories. I'm not saying that I wouldn't try to have certain individuals on in the meantime, but I think this club in general, my small 1,200 square foot gym, my powerlifting team that we've had for about 6-7 years now, has some really cool individuals. I think we have a lot of really good stories. I think we have a lot of good experience, background knowledge on a lot of different things. I don't want this to just be about powerlifting. Training will absolutely be about the talks. I'll have some separate by myself Q&As like this where I'm at my desk in my small little office area of the gym. A lot of it will be filled out on the gym floor when we have guests, and I have some people that have reached out to me that I've known through the interwebs, Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that for years, probably close to a decade now, and they want to get on this podcast, and I'm more than excited to have some of them on. A few things about what we're going to be talking about. I want to keep this very unfiltered, unedited, and shooting from the hip with a lot of our conversations, meaning I do have my laptop up now. I have some key points I want to hit, and I'm sure I'll have that, but I'm not going to stop the athletes and just people in general that I have on this podcast from talking about what they want to go into. We can go into some rants. I'm sure I'll fucking rant about something. I have a lot of shit to say, apparently. So there's gonna be a lot of that going on. I want it to be authentic, I want it to be genuine, and I want you guys to have a real feel for who we actually are and what this means to us, the gym itself. I'm gonna go into a little bit of who I am today. I'm gonna go into a little bit of what the gym itself is, Bristol County Barbell Club, where we came to be, and so on and so forth. So my name is Chad Ferria. I've been a coach since I was 18 years old. I'm 31 now, so I've been a personal trainer, coach for 13 years. I did it professionally for many years as my full-time job, working inside of commercial/corporate gyms, Workout Worlds, Anytime Fitnesses. Anybody from the East Coast will know these names. I ran a couple, was a personal training manager. I did the whole thing, everything about it. COVID hit, and like the rest of the world, it sent me into a little bit of a spiral, me and my family. The gym I was working at, and I was running two of them, two Anytime Fitnesses, took a hit. I lost a lot of clients. So I had to pivot. I now work a full-time boring corporate job while I run my own business, my own gym, where I train clients. We have a competitive powerlifting team, multiple MMA athletes, which I can't wait to have the boys on from that side of the gym too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. That will definitely be a podcast. Multiple professionals, amateurs, soon to be amateurs, turning to professionals. A lot of fun stuff. We have teenage lifters. We have a female side of the gym, which is really sparked up, so it's been a lot of fun. So this gym is a gamut of all walks of life. Every type of walk of life you could think of, we have in here, and we've had in here, we've trained with. It's been a lot of fun. Anyway, see a little bit of a tangent there. I've been a coach trainer, like I said, for 13 years. I have been a competitive powerlifter for 9 years of that. I've been a lifelong enthusiast of everything strength, sports in general, and especially combat sports, which is two of the main things we do here. We do strength athletes, aka powerlifters, and combat athletes, whether that's jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, obviously, whatever you can think of. We do that here. We have a lot of fun with that. That's two of my biggest passions, which is why I make it two of my biggest populations of people that we train. That doesn't mean that I don't train Gen Pop people. You just have to be the right person. It's all about mentality. It's about who you want to be and where you want to go. I don't want people who say they want it and they half-ass everything. I don't have time for that. I am a certified master trainer, blah, blah, blah. I'm Westside certified, big conjugate over here. We use pretty much all conjugate-based training for things like that. I'm also a father. I have a 5-year-old son. He's awesome. Love of my life, along with my wife, who we've been together for 14 years. Again, I'm a gym owner. I'm a personal trainer coach. I prefer the term coach because personal trainers just count. I can't count worth shit anyway. So there's that. And I wanted to get in a little bit today on how the gym itself came to be. Bristol County Barbell Club. Like I said, I was working out of commercial gyms for a long time. I was running it, and I hated training at the gyms that I worked at. Main reason why is any other trainer can attest to this. If you're a trainer at the gym you work out at, even when you're not training, clients are coming up to you. People who just go to the gym are coming up to you, ask questions because they know you work there, and you never feel like you can actually get your full workout in. You can never feel like you can just dedicate your time. So once I got my house about 8 or 9 years ago now, one of the first things we did was started to acquire gym equipment. Very basic gym equipment so I could start training in my basement with just me and my brothers at the time. That quickly turned into putting it into my garage. And for a couple of years, I trained by myself. I'd wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, do my powerlifting training. But I knew it lacked. I knew I could be better. And I mean that because I would, not push myself on the heavy max effort sets, not push myself on my accessories because, I'd be on my phone and be like, oh, I'll do it later or whatever it is. So I was always enamored by Westside and how they had a team training aspect in powerlifting. I love team sports and I love solo sports. And I think powerlifting is a team sport in the sense of just like MMA is a team sport. You need a whole team behind you, but when you're on the platform or in the cage/ring, it is all on you, but it takes a village to get there. So I set out to start trying to find some training partners, which was a pain in the ass. And I did the worst business/decision move. I talked to some of my clients who were paying clients and said, hey, would you guys have interest in powerlifting? Or they came to me for powerlifting. Would you guys want to be my training partner in my garage? I won't charge you. All the training's done. I have the equipment for the most part. I've grown. I've got a lot more equipment since then. That was about 6 years ago. And they said, yeah. So we started with about 3 other guys besides myself, and that was it. We started training in the garage, and I had a 1-car stall garage, packed it with equipment. I had fucking equipment sitting in my backyard underneath tarps and all this other shit that we never even got to use. Then we started to grow. We started competing. I already was in powerlifting, I think, for 4 years at that point. 3 years, 4 years, something like that. And I started having the guys compete. They did their first meets. We started to expand. I went crazy with buying more and more gym equipment to the fact that, like I said, the 1-car stall garage got filled out. We couldn't even move. So I bought a big, ugly green tarp carport that you would find at Tractor Supply, put it in my driveway, made some bullshit floor out of some extra tarps and like those shitty puzzle piece interlocking mats. And we had a whole new section to the gym. I was able to put reverse hypers, lat pull downs, just extra machines in general, back extensions, glute ham raise, things like that. And dumbbells, we had a whole rack of dumbbells up to, I think it was like 130 at the time. Now our dumbbells go to 200 pounds in the gym. And we were out there for almost 3 years with me. And I think we grew from 4, and then we had about, by the time we left the garage and moved to our first mill space, I want to say around 9 people. Now, in that time, we had people come and go. We had some guys who said they wanted to do it, and for whatever reason, they just didn't fit in the club. And again, I was doing all this, not charging anybody. I just loved it. I wanted training partners because I wanted to be better, and it was the number one thing that I've done to go from being a really shitty powerlifter to a mediocre powerlifter at best. But in that time, since I've had my training partners, I put about 400 pounds in my total. It's about a total of six total years. It was the best decision I ever made. I highly encourage you, if you can get around a powerlifting team, to go. Even if it's not the style of powerlifting you want, it will make you better. Trust me. The camaraderie, the culture, the feel of it, it's what started all of this for me. It's why I'm here doing this now, why I'm doing a podcast, why we have everything else that's going on, the gym, the training. It couldn't be a better atmosphere and culture when you have the right people. So we're in the garage. We have a bunch of people, again, like 7 or 8 people. We have some guys that can show up once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever it is. And naturally, I guess, how it went is my neighbors started to hate me. And not my direct neighbors that were across the street or whatever, it doesn't matter who. They hated the fact that we played loud rap music. They hated the fact that we were in there slamming weights and swearing and being powerlifters, I guess, and being combat athletes. We were dragging sleds on my property, on my grass. They didn't like that. They didn't like the noise. They didn't like all the people parking in the street. And at this point, I was already looking for a bigger space because being outside in an unheated, uninsulated garage, unheated, uninsulated carport, it was hard. It's rough during the winter, man. We were in there when there was blizzards going around. We're from the Northeast. We're in New Bedford, Massachusetts. We get snowstorms, very, very cold winters. We were in there for all of it. Rain, thunderstorms, snowstorms. We'd have the garage open and the carport open, and it'd be snowing in between both of them. And honestly, it was a ton of fun. But it was rough. I wanted more space because we all packed like sardines. We have a couple. At that time, we already had 2 super heavyweights. So jamming everybody in one spot was fucking pretty ridiculous. We're sitting and standing on top of shit trying to get out of each other's way. But work got done. My first 600-pound squats and deadlifts came in there. My first 400-pound benches came in there. As for many others, we've had people... I believe we have one person who tore their groin in that garage, so he left that behind, and some other injuries. I threw up my back a bunch of times being an idiot. But there's a lot of great memories there. But again, my neighbors complaining, calling the cops, calling the city on me. Not that we were doing anything wrong and we didn't get in trouble. No one forced me out. But we were looking for a spot. So finally, after about 3 years in the garage, I believe it was, I found a small mill space that was 800 square feet in a pretty terrible part of New Bedford. If anybody knows the north end of New Bedford, you know what mill I'm talking about. And it was awesome. It was heaven. It was 2.5 years of bliss in there. I was able to get a little bit more gym equipment. We had a hill outside the mill that I had my fighters run. We would pull sleds in the hallways of the mill, so everybody had access to pulling sleds, and we were out of the elements. In terms, we weren't getting rained on, we weren't getting snowed on, we just weren't getting shitted on in general. No one else in the mill gave a shit that we were a gym. I technically couldn't have made it a business, so it was still just a private club where now people are paying me money, but it was just so we could have the roof over our head. And any extra money that I did make just went to buying more and more gym equipment. The next specialty bar, bands, chains, specialty piece of equipment, whatever you can think of it. Whatever we needed, I tried to make sure we get. Still to this day. So we were in here, and now we're growing. We're probably from 8 to, I want to say, 12, 14 guys between the powerlifting side and the combat side. We trained multiple professional athletes in there on the MMA side for multiple fights, wins, great times, multiple enough powerlifting meets that I couldn't even guess, at least 3 or 4 a year, so around 10, 12 powerlifting meets. It was great. And then I sat down and I had to talk with my wife. And it was one of those things where it's like I need to either shit or get off the pot. In terms of like opening my gym, making it a business, taking that next leap. And that's what brings us to our current location. We are now in a much better mill. To the south end of New Bedford again, for everybody who knows. We're located at the Kilburn Mills, first floor. Come by and check us out. If you're local to the area, obviously. Or if you're visiting, we do day passes, whatever you need. We got in here about 8 months ago. Decided to make it a business and just increase our culture. I still work my full-time job. I do all this on the side. It is a massive passion project of mine that, of course, I want to make money and move forward with. But I'm trying to more or less increase the culture of powerlifting around here. I want to include the powerlifting. I want to include the combat. I want to get a bunch of authentic, genuine people in here. We don't do drama. We don't do any of that extra bullshit. You come in here, we train hard. We have a great time. We fuck around with each other. We bust balls. I am the #1 shit talker in this gym. And it's so much fucking fun. We go to the combat fighters fights, the MMA fights. We all go as a team and we have a great time. We go watch them fucking knock someone out, choke them out, whatever it has to be. We have so much fun with that. We have our yearly cookouts, and more or less, I really think a lot of us are becoming closer to family than anything else. I mean, when you think about training partners in general, we train together 4 to 5 days a week, a couple hours at a time, sometimes longer, and you all get really close. I mean, when you're doing a 600-700 pound squat, you rely on those guys for that shit not to snap your neck. So you have to have a lot of trust. And the self-improvement you see at everybody over the years is awesome. It's so much fun. So that's kind of a quick story on how the gym itself got to the point we're at now. And that's what brings up the podcast. That's what's going to bring up the YouTube videos. I'm going to start doing the Instagram videos. I want to show what our culture's like, obviously help other people on their powerlifting journey. I've been doing, like I said, I've been competing for 9 years. I've been a coach in general for 13. I've been doing this a while, and I want to help as many people. Like I said, the types of people we have on this podcast, again, I'm sorry if I'm being redundant, are going to be a lot of local guys and people that I know in general who are good people. And that does not mean that I won't reach out to some of the higher named powerlifters, coaches, strength athletes in general, because I would always love to get to know them more. But I want to show what we have here in terms of our population. There's a lot of sick people in this gym. There's a lot of great people in this gym, and it's cool to see how we all come from crazy different walks of life and somehow meld together in this fucking 1,200 square foot hot box. It's really cool to see. But yeah, so that's going to be what the podcast is about. Training, life, and culture, presented by Bristol County Barbell Club. You know, I'm going to be doing a lot of like Q&A stuff. I'm sure we'll take any questions, and I'm open to anybody else who sees this that wants to maybe do like a remote podcast where we Zoom call, whatever the fuck it would be, FaceTime. I don't know. I'm not that big on technology, but we'll figure it the fuck out. If you're a good person, I want you on here. If you're a shitbag, see you later. It's not worth it. But yeah, that's it. I hope we can all have a good time with this. And it was just the first introductory podcast. I'm really hoping to have a lot of fun with this. I hope you guys enjoy listening. Have a great day.